I'm actually surprised it lasted that long.
Yeah, true. So, right here.
What would you like to know about it? No, I don't think that. I think it's a really good cast and it's an interesting story. In truth, I don't believe that it happened. I think it's totally fake. And that Lorenzo Carpentier, who wrote the book, made it up. It's supposed to be a true story. And there was controversy at the time because the book was so popular. But I think that the actors just embraced something different. Just the idea of what New York was at the time. The problems with the juvenile detention service and all those things which really do exist. And for me, growing up in New York, it was just nice doing something pretty much from my time period. And at the time, I mean, how long was that ago? Over 20 years ago. So guys like Brad and myself and some of those other guys, Billy Crudup, Ron Eldar, it was a different point of our lives. And to work with some, obviously at that time, big guys like De Niro and Hoffman and Vittorio Gassman and all that. So I enjoyed it. It was also the first time I worked in New York, being a New Yorker.
You also have done plays on Broadway. You starred in a play that your father wrote, I think. What was that like? What actually one of your father's plays?
Well, yeah, we did that championship season. When was that? About 5 years ago. And I worked with Kiefer. So it was 2011. Yeah. So we made a deal that we worked together every 26 years, and we really enjoyed ourselves. It was a lot of late nights and early mornings.
How was acting on stage different for you than acting on film or television?
I've done stage from the beginning since I was before I did movies. It's immediate. You feel the audience reaction. You really have to be an athlete to be on stage. The truth is that movies and somewhat television, you can get away with a lot of shit that you can't on stage.
Yeah, I've always heard with television and film work, it's a lot of actors have told me it's like hurry up and wait. Like you're waiting like 3 hours or whatever to do like one line or whatever.
It is, and it's also your performance can be created, can be modified. And not only from the amount of takes you do and the amount of angles, but I mean, we could both be sitting here and I could be saying nothing looking at you, but if you put the right music in, I've all of a sudden become a wonderful actor.
Okay, right here.
Yeah. When you're fortunate to have a day off, what do you like to do when you're relaxing?
I've had a lot of days off. I work every leap year. I like to read a lot. I like to do stuff that brings me to more elemental self in nature, whether it be hiking or running or just doing something outside, gardening, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Who else? Don't be shy. Right here.
Are you married with children?
I have a child. I'm not married. I have a 6-year-old boy.
Who else has a question in the back there? Don't be shy. Okay, right here.
Out of all the work that you've done, what was your favorite?
I think my favorite movie role was After Dark, My Sweet, which is a noir, a Jim Thompson noir. I was probably 23, and maybe the best overall experience was doing that championship season on Broadway because just the cast was so great. Myself, Kiefer Sutherland, Jim Gaffigan, Chris Noth, Brian Cox. And to do that 8 times a week for 5 months was just, it was a trial without question, but it was just a great time.
Okay, right here.
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
If you had to choose another profession that was in no way a creative field, which I know is like asking, like, which sense would you want to give up? But if you had to choose something that was in no way a creative field, what do you think you'd want to do?
Center field for the New York Yankees.
Yeah. Did you play ball?
Just as a kid, high school things.
How did you know that acting was what you wanted to do? Was it just kind of like in the blood?
Well, I mean, it was in the blood. I mean, but I think that was as discouraging at times as encouraging, not by them, but just in my own mind, because I'm not someone who likes nepotism, and I've certainly kept my own publicity profile pretty low, probably to my career's demise. But I just, I just think that it's good to find something that you believe in, follow it, regardless of whatever the sort of trends become.
I mean, for me, the scary part, like even though I do the conventions and stuff, I still have like, a regular day-to-day job. Like, for me, the terrifying part would be, waking up, like, doing a film and then wrapping up the film, and it's like, okay, now what? Like, you're waiting for the phone to ring, or, like.
There's a lot of that, but I mean, if you define yourself by that, your life's going to pass away, man. And, you can't define yourself. You can't let other people tell you who you are. I always wanted to be the one to praise or the one to blame for whatever happened to me. Because if you are just waiting for that kind of stuff, life does pass you by. And so I think I've had a very unconventional career in a lot of people's minds, and I didn't raise to the certain heights that people wanted from me for their own monetary reasons. But I just knew deep down at the end of the day I wanted to have a couple posters on my wall that I'd be proud of.
How did Lost Boys come about for you?
I was a struggling actor. I didn't have a job, and the funny thing, and Joel Schumacher will say, is I turned the movie down about 3 times. There was a casting director who casted. Her name was Marion Dougherty. She's a very famous casting director. She actually found James Dean, I think, and put him in Rebel Without a Cause. But I'd heard that, and back then in the day, sometimes I would go out and I'd audition for things, knowing that I didn't maybe want to do, but just try to get them for practice. And that was one of them. And then Joel convinced me again and again and again, and I said I did it.
How was the cast with each other? It seemed like, everybody had pretty much, bonded, I guess, over the course of the filming, or?
Yeah, we had 4 months, and there was a lot of young people, and it was exciting. And also, the original script was nothing like the movie. The original script was pretty bad. It was sort of Goonies with fangs. And Joel was very good at understanding who the actors were that he'd hired, and taking the best parts of their personalities and trying to structure the story around that. He was very open to a lot of ideas. I mean, at the time, what was that, 19 or 20? And he's very open to dialogue and things that we all would add, certainly for me anyway.
Okay. Right over here.
What was your first acting project, and how did you obtain it?
My first was a TV movie called Tough Love, where I played the son of Bruce Dern and Lee Remick.
Jamie Curtis was in that?
No, she wasn't in that.